This One's Wife. 43% bronzer party. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As per Samir Suri, writing for the Daily Mail, this one's wife and Prince Harry joined a parade of world-famous names at Kris Jenner's James Bond-themed 70th birthday bash in Beverly Hills on Saturday. Jenner, who previously celebrated turning 60 with a party inspired by The Great Gatsby, is said to have adopted for 007 this year as a play on the number 70. Stars, and also Harry and this one's wife, flocked to the exclusive event, which was held at Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's $165 million Beverly Hills mansion, according to TMZ. While Harry wore a stern expression as he headed into the party, this one's wife, holding his hand and trailing just behind him, was aglow with an ear-to-ear smile, which we all know, of course, as the rictus grin. For her latest night out, this one's wife slid her slender frame into a skin-tight black top with a wrap skirt that allowed her to flash one of her sculpted, being generous, legs. Meanwhile, Harry stuck to the classic look of a black tuxedo and bow tie. He wore a poppy in honour of Remembrance Day, which senior members of the royal family commemorated at the Cenotaph in London. This one's wife did not wear one. There was a big bash then that took place, and there were quite the list of individuals attending. Now, this one's wife's appearance is worth commenting upon because it allows people to understand what she is, why she behaves as she does, and also what she's getting out of this. So, first of all, as you can see from the thumbnail, this one's wife is wearing a rather tight black dress. It's not the worst thing that she's worn, that has to be said. Although you'll notice that the blacks on the dress don't quite match in terms of colour. That might be intentional, but more likely this is another instance of the misfiring clothing selection that this one's wife engages in. Remember, this one's wife doesn't put on a terrible outfit or, for instance, mismatched black clothing and go, well, it looks shit, but I'll wear it anyway. When she sees herself in the mirror, she thinks that she looks absolutely stunning and fabulous. This is because this is what her narcissism is telling her. The narcissism, if you will, is like a little voice that's going on in her head saying, you look stunning, you look beautiful, you look mesmerizing. And it reinforces that grandiose, exaggerated sense of herself, which isn't actually borne out by the evidence. Because invariably, with much of what she wears, it's ill-fitting, doesn't suit her body shape, isn't the right colour, isn't particularly flattering, and so forth. Here, the mismatched blacks will go unnoticed by her. It's not a deliberate attempt to wear stupidly mismatching clothing, but rather as a consequence of the fact that through the distortion field of her narcissism, the narcissism tells her that she looks fantastic, and thus she believes it is so. It's also the case that one of the chicken legs is making a prominent appearance, and you can see that the bronzer has been used, and that the higher up the leg you go, the whiter her leg is. Now, ordinarily, if you've been wearing shorts or a skirt and you've been exposed to the sunshine, your own legs will be similar in that the lower part will be tanned around your knee, and perhaps the top of your thigh will be tanned, and then underneath it fades until as it gets higher up, your leg is much whiter. Excuse me. That is as a consequence of the fact that Your skin tone is naturally white and you've tanned, and those areas haven't been exposed to the sunshine, so they remain white. It's the same for this one's wife, albeit the difference is she has not been out sunning herself. Instead, what she does is she applies the bronzer, the fake tan. Now, she's perfectly entitled to do so, and again, as part of her somatic narcissism, she will utilize that because she believes that it makes her look more attractive. But once again, she misfires because she tans her foot, her shin bone, top of her knee, but then not higher than that, and doesn't have regard for the fact that the slit in her dress exposes her true skin colour and that she's exposed herself as once again bronzing. She could, for instance, wear some hosiery, although she complained about doing so in the royal family, if she wants to improve the look of her legs because they are too white. Or you would think that you would then ensure that if you are going to use bronzer or fake tan, that you would make sure that it was evenly applied all the way up so that you wouldn't have any white bits showing. This demonstrates, of course, several things. One, her true skin colour, you can see it at the top of her thigh. Two, the fact that she uses bronzer. And three, the fact that she doesn't have proper regard to the way that she looks, that she doesn't check all over, didn't, for instance, walk around in the dress and ask someone to ensure, is all of my leg brown, etc., even just asking Harry about that. But no, one can only presume that as a consequence of being 43% Nigerian, she's only gone for 43% bronzer, and it wasn't applied all over the body in the way that it ought to have been done. We also see this one's wife wandering along with Richter's grin in place because, of course, she's lapping up all of the fuel from people looking at her. Harry doesn't look best pleased. He's probably not really looking forward to another celebrity event because they're not really his thing, but this one's wife can't wait to get in there. I know there's been quite a bit of speculation as to why they were attending, given the fact, for instance, that Lawrence Sanchez doesn't particularly like this one's wife, more about that in a separate video, and that the Kardashians are not exactly fans either. Might it be that this one's wife had been doing some begging to ensure that she achieved an invitation? Well, it's speculation, but it wouldn't be a surprise for this one's wife to have been a last-minute invite who sharpened her elbows to ensure that she was involved. That type of event is precisely the type of thing that this one's wife believes that she belongs at, where there is the rarefied atmosphere of many famous faces, A-listers, and wealth. She would be like a pig in shit, wanting to be amongst all of those individuals. And no wonder, as a consequence of the anticipatory fuel and the fuel that she's receiving as she walks in, does she have her rictus grin plastered across her face. It's events such as this that she absolutely lives for, that you see that she wants to be involved in these events because her narcissism tells her that she belongs at such an event. Accordingly, just in the brief pictures of her arrival, we learn so much again courtesy of her narcissism. The fact that she looks like she's wearing a Steve Jobs turtleneck with a different coloured black skirt with a long slit in it wrapped around her, that the bronzer has been misapplied, and the rictus grin comes out as a consequence of her inner delight as a consequence of being involved at such a high-profile event. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.